What's good, anglers? Black Fishing here, and today we're going to discuss 3 baits that can help you catch your first perch. With these particular baits, you can catch them whether you're wading in the river or the creek, or you're in a boat, or you're in some sort of flotation device trying to catch your first perch. I understand for some of you rookie anglers that it could be a frustration to catch them beautiful perch. They good eating too, but I'm here to help.
This was the first type of bait I used as a kid, and I used it often. One of the biggest reasons I used worms was because it was free. I would look under rocks, or any decomposing tree bark, or I'd just dig for them in the yard. I would always come up with a handful. In fact, I still use them today. The thing is, nowadays you can buy them online and have them delivered to your door. There are a number of ways you can fish with worms. You can fish with a bobber and dangle them in front of perch, or attach a weight and let it sit at the bottom. Utilizing live worms are one of the simplest ways you can catch perch. However, be careful not to let them nibble on too long if you plan to release them. They will just engulf those things.
Worms are one of the first lures that I used as a child. One of the biggest reasons I used worms back in the day is because, one, they were for free. You could go out in the backyard or out in the woods and get out there and dig for them, or we'd put some wood on the ground, or you could even put some cardboard on the ground, and you go ahead and wet it. You let it sit there for a few hours or maybe even overnight. You come back, lift it, you got some worms for you. So, didn't have much money as a kid. So, my dad, he had all the rods. All I had to do was just get a hook, maybe even a bobber, or even like a little split shot or something like that. Put the worms on the hook, cast it out there, either let it sit, or you could just, kind of jig it back a little bit, give just a little bit of action. And I tell you what, them perch would be on it.
There are a few different types. You have paddle tails, straight tail, double tail, and my favorite, the curly tail grub. I've had great success while in Germany catching perch on curly tail grubs. The most successful colors for me has been pumpkin seed, smoke, and a natural color brown with gold flake. The rivers here in Germany have a lot of areas that will snag you up. So when using grubs, I would typically use a weedless jig head. That way I can pull the grub through all of the structure without any issue. My typical presentation is to let it sink to the bottom and give it a few twitches while keeping the line tight. What you want to do is get to do small hops off the bottom.
Grubs is another all-around type lure that you can use for perch. With grubs, you can also use them on a boat. You can kind of jig them, or you can use waders like I do, or any kind of flotation device as well. Now with grubs, I tend to use them a little bit more exact in certain areas, and I fish with them a bit slower. But they are a fantastic lure to use with perch. In fact, with grubs, I catch many of my larger perch with grubs.
For those of you that are not new to my channel, I'm sure you know the inline spinner was going to be my #1 bait for catching perch. I've caught tons of perch on these things. I always fall back to inline spinners if in a tight situation. More often than not, it will land me a perch. The presentation for an inline spinner is simple. You throw it out there and you retrieve it. There is a method to the madness, however. Most of the perch that I catch, I tend to be upstream from them. The reason being is I utilize the current to help me present a slower presentation. It will help you to maintain those flashing blades in the face longer, and that is what I'm looking for. You see, what I'm mimicking is a small bait fish struggling against the current, or even just suspended near the bottom. Just like the sun hits the side of a bait fish and creates a flash, the inline spinner mimics that. It also brings a vibration to the water column, which brings predatory fish to find the lure. It's as if it's saying, hey, look at me.
Well, anglers, those are the 3 baits that I would use to catch my first perch. Running them back again, the first one was the live worms. Second one was your grubs, specifically curly tails, but you can use paddle tails. You can do those straight tails or whatever grubs that you like. They all work. And then my number one lure was the inline spinner, which you can catch anything with the inline spinner, but perch seem to love those things, and you'll catch a bunch of them. All right, y'all. Thank you for rocking with me and checking out this episode. Till the next time, peace.